Okay. Okay, fine. So one second. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good morning and good evening. So last class we have discussed about the authentication and authorization. So that's the Angular core module, and so from today we are going to discuss another module that's called NGRX. So what is NGRX is this is the state management mechanism. Okay, so for this we need to use some set of libraries, and that's libraries called actually Redux. Okay, so Angular plus Redux concept is NGRX, and same Redux concept we also use in React.js also. That is the React Redux. Okay, so but why we have to choose that? Okay, so why we have to depend on the NGRX? So without NGRX also we can able to do the application, right? So but why we have to go there, and why we supposed to do that? Okay, and how to configure and how to work with the NGRX and all we'll see. But the problem we have to find out. Okay, so what is the problem without NGRX? What type of problem you face? And then you have to think about, okay, so what is the benefit you use NGR of your NGRX? So what happened like that? So now I tell you something. First of all, uh, like Angular, right? So we are learning Angular. So in Angular, a small recap. So why Angular has come to resolve the complexity at the client side to develop some single page applications at the client side. So we have a Angular. So it is all the complexity and how in which format the Angular will resolve the complexity at the client side is it follows the component based development. Okay, so component based development means the whole page you can divide into the multiple components, each and every small pieces of components, and you can develop independently. Okay, so okay, fine. So we can divide the page to multiple components, and we can develop properly. It's fine. Up to that, it's perfect. Data binding, event handling, form validation, everything like individual components is fine. But if you want to maintain the application data, it's bit of complex. Okay, so how two components getting interact with each other? Okay, uh, so that's become complex. So I tell you how it is. It's like something next level of the application structure you have to think. Okay, for example, when I tell you how it is. Generally in Angular, what happens? You have a component. This is your app component. Okay, this is my app component. So every component is a root component called app component, and inside this app component I have like multiple components. For example, I have one component like this, inside one more component, inside one more component, just like architecture diagram looks like this for Angular. And I'll take other component at the side, and there's a component here. Okay, so let me give some names as well. This is just like mm, okay, this is A component, something called B component. This is the C component, and yeah, connection goes like this. Here is the connection, and that child is this one. This child is this one, and here also this is the child. Its child is this one. Its child is this one. Okay, and it's having another child called here, like this. So assume I have an application like this. Let's take some names also. Something called X, Y, Z, some P. Okay, so I have A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and P components are there. Okay, so generally, uh, yeah, we can develop in this format, fine. But where you maintain the application data? Application data means generally we have configured the data for each component level. Okay, so previously mostly what we have done is we used to maintain the data. We used to maintain the state at every component level. Okay, so everybody having their own state, so they can use it happily. Then no issue. When issue comes is I have a data here. I have a data in the X component. Okay, I have data got generated through click events or any events or something. I got data. Okay, some data I have it here in the X component. Now, what's my plan is I don't want to display that data in X component. I want to display that data in the A component. It means I want to transfer, I mean, I want to send this data from this to this, and these two not in connection. So what you're supposed to do is you have to bring that data to the next level to the parent, and from parent you have to provide here. So you have to lift up the state, and from there parent to child you have to provide like it input, it output, you have to use it. So we have discussed this example like when we discussed the contact tab example. So that time we have discussed this scenario. So there you feel like it's like little complex and confusing concept, because you have to send data from parent to child, child to parent, and you may have names also little confused, right? Is it belongs to parent data or is it belongs to child data? Correct. So that's the problem, and that too, you know, in contact tab we have just two or three components are there, and to exchange data between parent and child, it's like there you feel a little complex, right? Just imagine there are some multiple uh, components with too many nested levels are there. For example, I have data in my Z component. For example, I have data in my Z component. I want to display that in the C component. What actually you have to do? These two not in connection. Okay. So what you supposed to do is you have to bring that back to Z, to Y, to X, to app, from there to A, from there to B, from there to C. So if this is the case, now you understand the complexity, right? So I just simply want to have a connection between Z and C to share the data. You need to do this much bigger process. Assume your application contains some more than 50 or 100 components. You know what? The whole Facebook application made in React JS is contains around 30,000 components are there. Okay, not 30,000. I think 3,000 components are there. So 3,000 components. Will you imagine like this? No, not at all. Okay, so when application grows bigger and bigger, yeah, of course you can create the component structure, but only problem is the state management. So how did you manage the state is very difficult. Okay, so that solution actually given by the NGRX. Okay, NGRX. So I have actually a PPT about it. So let me open Angular. So if you understand that concept, so we can implement the same story from now. Every example with NGRX. Not every, mostly examples will be covered. Um, Come on. Okay. So I think, yeah. See here. Now tell me what is the best way, not this one. What is the best way to handle the state in your application? See, we have seen the problem case, right? Here. So if you keep the state in the every component level, so sharing is difficult. You have to send to parent, parent to child is difficult, right? So what is the best solution? Shall I maintain data at every component level, or shall I maintain data in the parent level app component? So what is the uh, problem we understand, and solution also we'll discuss. Okay. So best way to handle the state in application is, suppose if you keep data in a root level state. Okay, assume we have a data structure like this for every component. You have a state here. Now thing is, I want to transfer. Suppose if you maintain data in a parent level, I want to see the data. I want to catch the data and display in the lowest child. Assume I have data in the parent. I want display in the lowest child. So what you have to do? You have to provide this state to the child, and from there to child, from there to child. So if the last child want to receive the data, so every intermediate component has to pass through the state. For example, this process. So app is having data, you have to provide to the next level called page, section, list, and then list item. So one after the other, for every next level you have to provide. Okay, so every component you have to write at input has to read data from the parent. That's fine, but here is the problem. The problem is called as props drilling problem. You have to just provide data to each and every level. But here the major thing is, sir, if I miss to provide data to page, actually you have to provide from app to page, page to section, section to list, like that. Sir, if I miss, suppose my developer missed that to provide data to page, but one link is missed. If one link is missed, what happened? See here, if one link is missed here, uh, okay, if one link is missed, what happened? Next level onwards, you get the value called undefined. So you can't able to receive the value of it. So prompt drilling problem is, you need to be very careful. For every next level you have to provide the data. So it means you can't maintain data at the parent level called app component level as well. Okay, sir, what if we maintain the data for every component level? Okay, this is what we used to do generally. Okay, so every component have their own state of information, like employees array and all. They will maintain a data of components level. So it will be like this. So if you maintain data for every component level, we already discussed the situation like this. Okay, so there is one state, there is a button component having some state. There is one form component also. So in the same structure, everybody having their own state. So what is my situation is, whenever I click on this button, okay, the moment I click on this button, I need to catch hold of some data and transfer that to the form component. Okay, so when I click on this button, I want to transfer this data to the form component. So how can I provide this data to form component? If you see the real structure of it, actually this is the structure of it. Okay, previous example we didn't see the structure. I want to just transfer data, but structure is like this. So then what to do? Tell me. This both are not in connection, button and form. You have to send data to the parent. From there you have to provide to the child. You have to provide to the child. Where is my cursor? Yeah, from there to parent, from there to here, from there to here. This is little complex, too much complex. Okay, so now thing is, we can't maintain data in the parent level. Problem is props drilling. And we can't even maintain data for every component level. Problem is data sharing. You can't share with like siblings. Okay, you need to send a parent from there to child. So what is the best solution is, you can manage the state in the global. So you can just take out the state of every component and keep in one centralized location called global, some global location or some central location. You keep the state. See, everywhere state is a problem, right? So you just get the state, keep it in the global location, and everybody can access. If everybody can access like this, then it's very right, it is easy, right? Suppose root component also can access, child access, child access. Suppose you have a button here, button access the state, form is also there, access the state. So if we do some changes, it updates the state, and this can directly access the state. No need to change to parent and child. No parent and child. Everybody is direct access. Everybody having a direct access. Okay. So one second. Yeah, that's the plan. Now, uh, okay. You know what? There also real problem is there in this approach. Also, some problem is there. If I give a global state open for every component, a Okay, fine. So I think I lost internet. Yeah, I think it's back. Yeah. So here's some problem is you can't you can't track who is the person can access data and who is the person has modified the data. Okay. So to make all this, there should be some person. Yes, of course, this is the best solution to maintain the state, but there should be someone to handle all this state changes. Okay. So who is that will be your NGRX. So from this is the concept itself, same structure itself will be comes under NGRX. So now let's understand what is the NGRX. So Angular with NGRX. So NGRX is one advanced concept of Angular, and you know what? If you are applying an interview as an experienced Angular developer, you must get, I think, almost 80 to 90% of the questions come only with NGRX because they wantedly ask NGRX because if you know how to configure NGRX, you can develop any kind of application with NGRX and Angular. Okay, so entire Angular NGRX is little tricky and it contains a lot of like terminologies and a lot of like jargon words will be there. So you need to understand the flow also. Okay, so even you have to do a simple thing also. You have to configure a lot of stuff you have to do. You have to configure a lot of stuff in Angular application. So people will ask definitely more questions on NGRX. So without NGRX, there is no interview will get complete nowadays. Okay, so that's why just focus much on NGRX now. Okay, so now what is NGRX is Angular plus Redux pattern. Okay, so NGRX is equal to Redux pattern plus Angular. Okay, so the same Redux pattern we also use for React.js Redux. Okay, same terminology. Here also what terminology is there. If you understand Angular NGRX, React Redux is very easy. If you already know that React Redux, Angular NGRX also very easy because almost same terminology will be there. Okay, only code will be different because there you write some JavaScript thing and here you write TypeScript libraries and all Angular libraries all there. So it's little different. Okay, fine. So this is the Redux pattern. So this is an extra step you have to do it. So okay, see here. Till now, what we have is we have just view and component. Correct. So view means the front end part, your HTML part, and component means your TS file. Okay, so how a view and component are in connection we know, right? So like data binding we have discussed. So view and component having connection. I'm not talking about services and all, just a very standalone component without service you think about. So view and component. So on the view, whatever the event happen, I will receive that in the component and same state will send it back to the view. So like view and component in connection. But now the thing is everything setup is okay, but only thing is the state you don't need to maintain by the component level. Okay, you have to keep it somewhere outside. So this is the Redux pattern, the same pattern we use in NGRX. So here there are multiple things are there. You have something called action, you have a reducer, you have a state, and you have a selector for that. Okay, so generally how the flow of this Redux pattern works is you have to understand things also. Action. So action indicates I mean I tell you when component the action indicates what is the thing, what is the instruction you do, you give for the store. What is the instruction you give the store is called action. Okay, and what is this reducer? So reducer is just like a storekeeper, so which is responsible to modify the store. And store means this is a centralized location to maintain your application data and you will receive here. So flow works like this. Whenever a user event happen in the view, data sent to component, this component is going to dispatch or trigger. Dispatching means executing. Okay, component will dispatch an action, and based on the action your state will get modified using the reducer, and the update state will update in the component from there to view. I know it's little tricky flow. I'll just come back to this again. I think this is NGRX control flow, including the services, effects, and all. See, previously what we have only view, component, services, server, right? View, component, services we will directly inject to the component, and that services we use in the view. That is the flow actually, correct? But now the flow will be like this: selector, store, action, reducer, effects with the services. Yeah, this is the real world scenario. Even in the company, what is the complex application they develop using Angular, it will be having this flow. Even you just do a simple button click, also you have to follow this much process if it is having server side calls also. Okay, if you don't have server calls, FX services will not be there. Only this flow will be there. Without server, with server, this flow. Okay, yeah, I'll come back to this each and every terminology. Yeah, next thing is NGRX contains a set of libraries. Okay, so it contains a full of libraries, and in this most important thing is this one, NGRX store. So this is for the state management, inspired by Redux. Okay, so one more is required is FX for server side effects, means to do server side calls, and this is for router purpose. You can store routing data also in the state, and store dev tool. This is for debug purpose. Entity, it is one state adapter. This is schematic. Yeah, schematic also there. Schematic is to just like Angular CLI, we can create all the stuff using the semantics. Okay, yeah, I'll come back to these things one more time. Yeah, this is the story of NGRX. So what is the conclusion here is, we cannot maintain the data for every component level. It leads to a lot of problems and maintenance issues, and we can't even maintain the data in the parent level. It leads to the prop stealing problem. So the best solution is you have to maintain the data at a centralized location. So how can we maintain this data is, this type of structure is not given by the Angular. So if this structure is given by actually Redux, to support Redux, so Redux is complete library and complete different library. Angular is separate different framework. So how both are in connection is, there is a mediator libraries will be there, NGRX. So NGRX libraries deals with how to apply the Redux pattern to Angular application. That's like a mediator library which deal with Angular plus Redux calls. Okay, fine. This is what it is. Okay, NGRX is equal to Redux pattern plus Angular library. Okay, so flow like this. Yeah, so now we'll understand. Now we understand some terminologies. Yeah, in NGRX. Okay, you have a terminology like state, and you have action, you have dispatch. Uh, Actually, it's not called state, it's called store. Store, action, dispatch, reducer, and then selector, and effects, like that. These are like very most, I mean, most important uh, terminologies in GRX, and even Redux also same story. Okay, so what is this store? A store means this is the centralized location. Just try to understand. Slowly down the line, you get the more clarity on it. Okay, so centralized repository. Okay, or else centralized state or store. The whole application data. Okay, you can just take like this: application state or store. The whole application data we can maintain in one location. That's called your store. Action. So action means it is like a command or instruction. It's like command or instruction to update or modify the state. Okay, you just have to give some instructions to modify the state. That's called action. Okay, dispatch. Dispatch means the way you execute an action. Dispatching means executing action. Okay, and reducer. Yeah, this guy is the actually the storekeeper to modify or update the global state or store. This guy is the storekeeper to modify the state or store. And selector to fetch the required state information from store. Okay, and fx mostly this is used for server side calls. Okay, server calls, http calls and all you can make through fx, service calls and server calls and all. Okay, so this is the story. But to understand the entire setup of NGRX, you need to understand the basic example of it, some real world example. Just like regularly what happened based on, actually based on what scenario they got the idea of doing is let's understand using one shop. Okay, what is that shop? Is something called cake shop. So I have a cake shop, and in the cake shop, what are all this concept will come in the cake shop? We'll see. Okay, if you understand the cake shop example, you easily understand NGRX example. Okay, the flow you understand, terminology also you understand. Okay, so let's create a fresh uh, diagram. I have a store. Okay, so I have a cake shop. So I have a cake shop. So cake shop contains a multiple different varieties of cakes. Okay, here is one cake and here is one cake. Here is one cake like that. Okay, okay. So there is one cake shop which contains a full collection of cakes. Okay, and in my cake shop there is one shopkeeper inside of this. There will be one shopkeeper. So this shopkeeper is responsible to sell you the cake. Okay, alright. Okay. So this guy is the shopkeeper right here. So shopkeeper is responsible to sell you the cake. Okay. And to purchase the cake, we need one customer as well. Okay, let me grab this guy. I can't create again. So this guy is like a customer. Okay. So we have a cake shop full of all the cakes, one shopkeeper and one customer. Okay. So how this guy will purchase the cake? Simple. So first what happened? This customer will reach out to the cake shop and asking, I want to buy a cake. Okay. So he will give some command, buy cake. Okay. So he will give some instruction to the actually the whole state or the whole shop you take. So he has given instruction to the shop owner or something. Buy, I want to buy a so and so cake. So, who will react for this particular command is the shopkeeper. So this shopkeeper will come and show you all the all the cakes and so cake you purchase. Assume this is the cake you have purchased. Okay. So once you have purchased this cake, this guy will remove that cake from the tray, and this cake will be removed and given to the this cake will be removed and given to the customer. Okay, and he will make an entry. Something is removed from the state, from something is removed from the cake shop. He will make an entry there. This is how generally flow works. Okay, I repeat, cake shop contains full of cakes, and one storekeeper will maintain all the cakes information, and one customer. So one customer gives a command to purchase the cake, and that guy will give the cake, and it makes an entry also here. Same story will also works with NGRX. So now let's understand the same guys, the same names with NGRX terminologies. Okay, so here NGRX terminologies will like this. Cake shop is there, na? Cake shop. Cake shop is nothing but your NGRX store. यहाँ पे store है ना? Same store is cake shop store. So what is store? Store is a collection of uh, data, like collection of objects, like user data, employee data, admin data, like every person data is just like one objects. So this is your data. Okay, and here is one object with some data like that. Okay, so store is a collection of full of objects. Each object contains one component data. You can feel like that. Okay, and who is this shopkeeper? The shopkeeper is nothing but the reducer. We discussed reducer, no? That reducer is shopkeeper. So shopkeeper, I mean, this reducer is like a shopkeeper which is responsible to modify the state in the store. To modify any nested object of a store, this guy is responsible. Okay, and what is this buy cake? This is an action. Okay, so buy cake is one action. Okay, so my customer is dispatching or executing. He is giving some instruction. Okay, so the same action internally contains the dispatch also. Buy cake is action. How you execute the action is dispatch. Okay, dispatch is like executing action. Okay, and who is this customer? That customer is your component. Your component. Okay, so your component will trigger an action. Reducer will take the action, will modify the store, and then you receive the cake, right? The way how you receive the cake, यहाँ पे cake था ना? The way how you receive the cake is using the selector. Selector, we discuss selector, no? Yeah, selector means how the way how you receive the particular object from the store to display on the view is selector. So now at this time you understand almost the each and every terminology. So store is the centralized repository where you can maintain the whole application data. Application data means each and every component level data you can keep in one centralized location store, and there will be one attached with reducer. This is responsible for certain action, how to modify the state. This guy will track of it. And action means what is the command or instruction can be given by the component. That's an action, and how you give the action is dispatcher. Okay, and who will trigger the action is component, and when you trigger the action is based on certain events. Okay, and using selector you'll fetch data and display. Yeah, same thing. The flow will be like this. Here is the flow. So view component to action reducer store selector. This is a like selector. So what happened is on the view, whenever some event is happened, some user event is happened, I will catch that event in the component. I don't want to modify the state in my local because this guy don't have state in local. State is somewhere outside. So what you're supposed to do is you have to dispatch an action. So based on the action, so what is action? Something you click on a button. So my action will be button click. So when button is clicked, I want to update something, some increment the counter or something. So you just give the action. So for this particular action, how the counter value will update will take care by the reducer. So reducer is having access to the existing state and action. So based on the action, it will modify the existing state with a new state, some new data based on action, new command. So the state is modified, but how you read this state is using selector. You read the data in the component, and that component already bind to the view. It will display on the screen. Okay, this is the flow. Okay, it's not configured with service and all, but as of now we'll just see this part, and then we'll see the complex one, this one with fx. Here no fx concepts. Okay, yeah, I hope now at this time you understand the flow of redux. Yeah, so now let's understand, I mean, how to configure the redux for a simple angular application. Okay, so to configure NGRX. Okay, so configure NGRX to Angular application. Okay, so I tell you how to configure Angular application with NGRX in after 5 minutes. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes break and then we'll be back. Exactly, 1853 is there. So 1858, exactly after 5 minutes we'll meet and we'll start with how to configure NGRX with Angular. Okay, let me stop this now.
హలో చెప్పండి. నమస్కారం. నేను చెప్పానండి మా తమ్ముడికి. అతను ఫోన్ చేస్తున్నాడు. డిజైన్ రాదండి. నమస్కారం. డిజైన్.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, so now, so let's understand a simple example. Simple example. Okay. So what is example is same like a cake shop kind of. Let me take something. An example name is Pizza Hut. Okay. So one Pizza Hut example where I'm gonna purchase a pizza which contains a more amount of pizzas like that. Okay. If you wish, I'll give you this diagram. Let me save this. Like okay. So first of all, I load the mm, one second. Angular evening batch fundamentals. Um, Actually, I have to create a separate folder here, not fundamentals. Let's create a folder called Angular with NGRX. Okay, so here we get all the NGRX examples, but here I need to create a folder that is 01 hyphen Pizza Hut. Okay, one Pizza Hut example. It's very basic example, but if you understand the basic example with the flow, this is just to understand the flow. Okay, later we'll see some complex examples. So now, but I can't create the whole application from scratch because it'll take a lot of time. Yesterday's notes are not there. Yeah, I'll check. Okay, so here I have a first tab. Okay, which contains server and all, not required actually. Let me delete the server part. Okay, so let me load this application to file, open, paste. Okay, okay. Yeah, so we discussed about the last class, this one. I don't want all this. Let's make it back to just plain and original application. Only just plain Angular with Bootstrap. Okay, so here I don't need this folder, this folder not required. And app module, we don't need any of uh, forms module, our component actually not required. And here these things not required. Okay, and okay, no forms module, nothing because you're not using any forms or HTTP client module also not there. I don't want that. And no provider required. Just empty as of now. So everything is just back to empty. Okay. Forms module not required. This is not required. Okay, it's a plain app module. In routing also, I don't need anything, just make it empty. Okay. I don't need anything like that. Okay, fine. So routing is empty, map module is empty, and app component also. I don't need anything in app component also. Okay. I can just make only the basic navbar to define what is the example you discussed. So navbar, the class call navbar. First, I'll tell you a basic example with plain Angular without NGRX. Then we'll configure NGRX. Then you understand clearly how to configure. Okay. So let's take example. So navbar dark bg dark navbar expand sm, not the whole navbar, this simple navbar container anchor tag. um, let's take some router link slash give the class. Actually, I'm not using any router concept, just make href only. Okay, class let's say navbar brand. So let's say Angular with NGRX. Okay, so I hope it's fine. And let me start the server. Before that, let me grab the NGRX flow in the notes. So in notes, I delete all this, not required actually. I paste the image. This is how generally the flow of it. Okay, and any notes you taken? Yeah, this is the one. Copy. I create one file called new file notes.txt and I'll keep here. Okay, and let me open this in Explorer, not internal, not there. One second. Open in Explorer. So I can directly open that with my Notepad++. I can type it here. It will change the same location of notes. Okay, so it's fine. Um, what to do? Yeah, here I want to create one component for this example, Pizza Hut. So let's create one component. So in the app, I create a folder called components. In this, I create one component called Pizza Hut. So right click on this, open terminal. So NGGC Pizza Hut, Pizza hyphen Hut, enter. Okay, it create the component. So now let me start the Angular application also. Yeah, how to start is npm start. Let me start this. So this application looks like this. I show you. I already saved this image. Application looks like this. For example, you have one container which contains one nice pizza image, and you'll be having some pizzas, available pizzas will be some 25, and below you will be having a nice button. To this button, uh, what it says is it dispatch an action and all. This is something called buy pizza. This is how my application looks like, my component. So we'll make without NGRX, maintain state in the local component, then we'll convert to NGRX. Okay. I hope it's starting. Come on. Yeah, compile successful. And yeah, Angular with NGRX. Let's make that component to be visible in my app component. So go to app component.html. Below the navbar, I'll write app Pizza Hut. That's my name of the component. So you get the default message here. Yeah, Pizza Hut works fine. So let me go inside of HTML. Let me write something. One container, one row, single column. Um, p.h3. Okay. So here I want one pizza image and right side some content. I write another row, mm, half of, so called MD6, and one more call MD6. Yeah, here I want to display one image tag. Okay, image tag I want src. This dummy image I'll take. Alt nothing. Give a class called image fluid. Yeah, I need to get the image from Google. Uh, Go to Google and search for some pizza images, something, anything you can check. Yeah, I have this. Right click on this, copy image address. I'll keep in a image. Okay, so you get the image over there. Yeah, so I think it's too much large. I can just take like this. This is M5 and this is 7. 5 plus 7 is 12. So smaller one. Yeah, fine. So right side here, I want some content. So in the column D7, so p dot h4 available pizzas. Okay, pizzas will be some number like 25. I'll take. Okay, I write something called span tag. The class font weight bold. Okay, some 25 static value and one button. The class called btn btn minus small button called buy pizza. Okay, yeah, I want this to be some different color text danger. Okay, so my setup is ready. Setup is ready. Okay, you can also make some, actually not required, p dot h3. Okay, fine. So simple man, I need some count and button. Okay, yeah, so this is a component. I have some count called 25. When I click on buy pizza, available 25, right? When I click on buy, means it'll become 24. When I click again, 23, like that, like one by one reduce. So let's make this small example using uh, standalone without NGRX. So what you do, you want to update this number, you have to keep this in the state, and you click on the button update the state in the local component. So what I do is, see, yeah, in Pizza Hut, I'll do one thing is I create public, mm, let's say pizza counter is equal to, or type number you take, number is equal to 25. I take pizza count is 25, and this 25 dynamically I want to display on my screen. So what you do, you go to HTML, instead of hard code value 25, I'll display my state information using Angular expression Pizza Hut, I mean pizza counter. So now we get 25, and you can also cross check. If I make something called 250, it will bind it will bind 250 there. Yeah, so data has been dynamically binded from my view to the, I mean component to the view. Fine. Now next thing is, when I click on this button, I want to reduce this number of stater. So when I click on this button, so I create a function to that public click buy pizza. Okay, so here what I do is I want to reduce this, simply just one by one you have to reduce. So how you modify the state, this dot pizza counter is equal to this dot pizza count minus one. If I do multiple minus one, it will go to minus values also, negative values also. You can write a condition there. You can write a condition minus one is greater than zero. Then sorry, question mark. Then this dot pizza count minus one, otherwise zero. Okay, I don't want to go beyond, I mean less than zero, so I want to do a check like this. Fine. So I have a method to modify the state, and when to call this method is when I click on the this button. So go to HTML. Here I'll say click event. I'll say click buy pizza. Okay, it'll keep reducing the store. It'll keep reducing the state information, and the same thing has binded here. You can see the data also here. Now check here. When I click on the buy pizza, it is getting reduced. Okay, it's getting reduced and it works. Yeah, I know it's very basic example, but let's make the same example including with NGRX. Okay, let's support with NGRX. Okay, so to make this, actually what we are doing, we maintain the state information the component level. We do state change also in a component level. But what is the problem and all we discuss if you maintain the state in every component level? So solution is you have to keep the store in the global. It means the pizza count you have to keep in somewhere global. You have to access from the global. And how this is achieved is NGRX. Yeah. So now let's start how to configure NGRX to Angular application called Pizza Hut. Okay, so to configure NGRX to your application, the very first thing is you have to install two third-party modules. Okay, so we know, right, Node.js third-party modules and all. Just like that, NGRX comes under full of libraries, right? I show you. Yeah, these are NGRX libraries. So NGRX store is required. NGRX store DevTools required. So now we have installed two special libraries at ngrx slash store. Ngrx slash store. One more is also required, that is at ngrx slash this one store hyphen dev tools. Okay, so this store module, third party module, is to manage the store action, dispatch, reducer, everything. This is for debugging. Actually, you can visualize what action has triggered, how state is modified. You can debug the application. For debug, we need this. I show you how to debug and all. Let me install these two. How to install any third party module? npm install module name. Okay, npm install module name. Let me install these two separately for my Angular. So when you see the Angular's package.json, which contains all the uh, set of libraries or dependencies, which contains Angular, like everything. NGRX spinner we use for spinner, and these things are there. There is no store NGRX. There is no at the rate of NGRX. We have to install these two. So once you install, you get the entry here. Okay. So make sure you have internet connection. So copy this. Go to let's open a fresh terminal. Yeah, let's paste it. Enter. Come on. Yeah, installed. Just forget about warnings. Yeah, one more. Copy this. Make sure you write a proper spelling. Okay, and paste it. Control V. Enter. Okay. So next step, it will install. Yeah. After this, I write a thing here. Install NGRX libraries. That's the first step. That is done. Assume. Next thing is configure the store with app module. Okay, and then you have to create an action and reducer for the store. Create action and reducer. You can make multiple actions, multiple reducers, but for as of now, one action, one reducer, and then connect NGRX with Angular component. That's it, 4 steps. Okay. So yeah, installation. I hope it's done. Yeah, installation done. So after installation, you can check the package.json. You have two entries, store and DevTools. So 10 version. Okay. Next thing is configure store with app module. So what exactly the store? What do you mean by store? Store means it's like a bigger object. I show you. I tell you. I think I have a document of it. I'll give you this document also. I think in my workspace, UI development, mhm, Angular 10, NGRX. Yeah, here I have full list of architectures. Yeah, I show you how store looks like. Store means don't think like store means something else. Store is just a complex objects. Yeah, this is the store. Okay, store is contained like this. App module data you keep here, products data here, user data here, customer data here, like that. Okay, multiple reducers. So store is a huge object. Store means your application data. Application data you maintain like a JSON format. So JSON means what? Just like nested objects will be there, right? Just like that. It's not a JSON file, just real object. Okay, fine. So how to configure the store with app module is once you install, go to app module. Yeah, here let me write a comment NGRX setup. Yeah, here you have to import two things. One is store module from NGRX. Okay, and one more is uh, store DevTools modules. Okay, so two modules. One is from store, one is from DevTools. In store module, store DevTools. So store module, how to configure is in the import statements. Store module dot root for root is empty object you can take. Okay, store module dot for root. Yeah, I'll just come back again here, comma. How to configure the store DevTools module is so DevTools uh, store DevTools module dot instrument, just like that. No options, nothing, just make it. Okay, so how to configure them is I write them here in document. This is like you have to import and then you have to configure them in the imports array like this format. Store module dot for root and this one. So this is what your state as of now, empty object. Fine. So once you have configured the store, next step. Next step is you have to create an action. You have to create a reducer. If you can see the architecture diagram, where is that here? So store is ready, empty. Action required, reducer required. Okay. So what do you mean by action? Action means like instruction. Actually, what are you doing here? I am clicking on this button. It means your action is buy pizza. Okay, that's your action. And what is a reducer? A reducer is responsible to get the action, update the state. Actually, how are you updating the state? This is how you're updating, right? So this logic has to be done by the reducer actually. Okay, so I tell you how to create action. In the same components, Pizza Hut only, I'll make it. Right click on this, new. I create one TypeScript file. So pizza hyphen hut hyphen actions, okay, dot ts file. Okay, pizza hut actions. You get some redux symbol that's come automatically with webstrom. Okay. Yeah, here how to create action is, what is my action name is like this, export constant, my action name is pizza by pizza. Okay, is equal to, there's something called create action. This is the function which is coming from NGRX store. This is the module we installed just now. So here you have to just give the name. Okay, what is the name is, it will be like this. Generally people will give like this, parenthesis and some text. Parenthesis, you have to give the component name. Actually this you can write anything, blah blah blah, but best practice is like, you have to give the component name. So my component is pizza hut. I'll give pizza hut example. And what is your action is by pizza. So this actually helps you in debug console log. So it helps you from which component, what is the action got triggered. So you can easily find out through the logs. So this actually comes in the logs of the browser. So I need this format. Okay, fine. That's it. Your action created. This is by pizza user action. Okay. Next, I want to create a reducer. So reducer is a function which is having access to the state and also the action. Okay. So how to create a reducer is, same here, Pizza Hut. I create one more TypeScript file, pizza hyphen hut dot reducer dot ts file, pizza hut reducer dot ts file. So inside I'll take let, okay, not let, I'll take, it's a ts, no. You can write something called export constant pizza reducer is equal to, create, I think create reducer. Yeah, create reducer is a function coming from NGRX store again. Yeah, so create reducer will take two things. One is the initial state and the store. Initial state means, see here. For example, when I load my component, by default 25 has been displayed. So for this component, initial data is 25. And what is the name of it is, um, where is that? Yeah, this is your initial state of your application, your component data. So pizza count is 25 initial uh, data. This like this, every store also will have initial data and will modify to some new data. So initial store like this, I can say let's initial state is equal to an object. In this I'll take pizza count 25. Okay, 25 is pizza count. Okay, you wanna, okay, fine. Now this will be taken here, initial state comma, uh, action. For what action, what state change you do. There's a function called on on buy pizza. So whenever you make an action called buy pizza, then you will modify the state like this. So you will receive the store, okay, this data, and how you modify the data is written a new object. So you will get the existing data, and how you modify data is like this. So how you modify is this, see, it returns this only, same object, but there pizza counter will be, how I get uh, initials. Let's take like this, store dot pizza count minus one, like this. Okay, uh, but minus one will reduce to zero also. You can write like greater than zero, make a condition check. So store dot pizza count minus one otherwise 0, like this. Same the logic what we written in the component independently, same thing I want to make it here. Okay, existing store information dot pizza minus 1, I want to do it with a new value. So my reducer functionality is what, it will take the
Can't
action.
we
Huh.
can't we take pizza count directly? We have to use store dot pizza count.
Yes, we can't use because it is having with the data, right? So this is inside a store, you have to use the store dot. Okay, we can't use pizza count directly, it's not direct variable, right? It is inside a store. Okay, so we have a pizza reducer ready, done. So now action ready, pizza reducer ready. But now see here, action ready, pizza reducer ready. Action configured to reducer. See, action has configured to my reducer, but my reducer not configured to actual store. Okay, how to configure reducer to store is in the app module we declare something now here. Store mod dot for root here pizza. What happened? Pizza reducer, like this. So store module dot for root pizza reducer. So if you configure in this way, sir, what is the real state like this? See, this is the state, no? So what is my state if you make in this format is this pizza reducer contains what, this one. So this is your state actually. This is your state. If you want more elaborate, you can actually you can also do in this way. Um, like you can take an object with let's say pizza with pizza reducer, like this. Also you can take a, so how your state looks like is copy this. Yeah, your state looks like this one. This is the one, uh, your store I'm talking about. Store looks like a bigger object like this. In that pizza reducer, what is your pizza reducer? Pizza reducer is this one, so it contains this object extra. This contains internally this object. So this is actually your store. Okay, object with pizza inside pizza count 25, this is your store. Okay, like that. This is how you configure that. You can write however you want, you can make multiple edits also. So my pizza information like this, see pizza inside pizza count, like that way. Here pizza pizza count. Okay, that's what I have configured in my app module, like that. Fine. So now what, action ready, reducer ready, store also ready, all in connection. Okay, all are connected, but nothing is connected to my component. Correct. Action is there, reducer is there, store is there, everything done. But this entire data has not been connected to my component. Let's see how to connect them. Yeah, back to my component. So till now I am doing the what, I am just making the local state. That's why I got everything here. Fine. And now um yeah, I want to read not this 25 local. I want to get, okay, I want to get this value from the store. I want to get this value from the I want to get the value from the store. So how can the component can read data? Already store is having some data, right? What is data? We discussed, no? This is the data. So I want to read this 25 from the store. So how you access the store is using some selector. You have to get data from the store to the component. So how to get that is the constructor. I say private store. Let me inject the store to my component. So store from NGRX store, NGRX store of type. You have to define the type of the store. So we already taken the type. This is the type of the store. Let's paste it here. Okay, but don't take the quantity. Just take of type number. Yeah, this is your store. Looks like. Okay. We can do even do better way. Okay, but I'm just writing in this like anonymous object. You can even do better way in a coming example. I tell you. Fine. This is my store defined. So from this store, I want to get the data. Actually, when you want to display data here, see available pages is empty because number is empty. So when you want to read this data, display data is the moment I load the component, I want to read data from the store and display. It means ng on init. I want to read data from the store attached to my local variable. So how to read data is this dot store dot pipe. Inside you have to write some select thing. Select pizza. So I'm selecting only pizza object. So inside I'll get this object. Okay. So dot subscribe. Let me subscribe to a store to receive every state change. So once you subscribe to store, whatever the state change happened in the store, it automatically reflects in my local component variable. Okay. So you will have a store. Let me just do a console.log now. Console.log of store. Okay. Tell me what you can expect in the console.log. Console.log. See, I'm selecting from store. I'm selecting pizza. So pizza object I'm selecting. So what is the value here? This is the one. So object with pizza count is something. Okay, so console.log store means this is the thing you will print it. And it's not just number. We have initial value in the store 25 that will get here. If you can see the console log, yeah. If you can see the console log, yeah, you get the objects. See, object to pizza count to 25. Okay, same thing. Now that pizza counter I want to add to my local pizza counter. But suppose the same variable, na? Okay, fine. Uh, but you make confuse, huh? If I make pizza count. Um, okay, I think now you understand. Huh? Yeah, this dot pizza counter is equal to store dot pizza count. Okay, I got object now. So object dot pizza count number I assign to my local pizza count number. So what happened? You will get the value now display 25. Okay, we got 25 display. If you want to double check, we have not declared any number here in local that actually coming from the NGRX store. You want double confirm. See here, where does this 25 is coming is in your reducer initial state is 25 is coming there. So I'll make something called 100. So now we are stored filled with 100. You get the value 100 out there. Okay. So now we confirm the data is coming from the store. Okay. Now fine. So what is the process we did is from store I fetch some data in the component. Through component I'll display to view. Done. Next step. I wanted to change the view with something like I want to update the store with something. So you want to update the store means you have to dispatch an action that will take care about reducer and all. It means the moment I click on the button, it is updating without doing anything. It is updating. Actually, it is updating. See here. Where is the component? Yeah, it is updating the local function with a local variable. It is updating. I don't want to do this logic by myself because I want to update not in my local state. I want to do this at the global state called NGRX state. So what I do is whenever an event whenever an event is triggered on the UI, I want to dispatch an action. So that will take care about a update. Okay, so if you do an update, we already make an action, no? So I have to just dispatch an action that will take care of reducer. Reducer take care about store. So store will modify, and my component already has been subscribed to store. I can receive it, display it. So you just need to dispatch an action. Complete flow will work now. Okay, so let me dispatch an action when I click on a button. So what I do is instead of this, I'll say this dot how to dispatch an action is this dot store dot dispatch. What is the action is by pizza is your action. See, I'm not doing any logic here. This dot store dot dispatch by pizza. This is my action. Okay, so that action has been triggered here. So what happened now? As per the flow, dispatch an action. Action will take care by the reducer. Reducer access to existing state. Based on action, it will modify the state. Because if you see the flow, this is the action, right? This action has been configured to reducer. So for this particular action, it will access the existing store. This one, it access the existing store, and it will modifying. It returns a new state information, the new store with a new data. So with update the store with new data, and this store has already been subscribed in my component. So the store information I can read it, and that is loyal to local variable, and that has been already binded. This one, this has been already binded to view. View will display data. Now see the flow. Click on the button. See it's getting reduced. Okay, fine. And we also confirm that there is nothing maintained in the local and there is nothing changed in the local. Everything maintained in the somewhere global, some other file. Okay, fine. And even yeah, this is fine. But as I said, there is something debugging, right? Yeah, store configuration done. Sir, what is this DevTools module? This is mostly we use for debug purpose. We can debug the application. So how you debug is, I tell you. Uh, you will have this icon. Maybe you don't have this icon. I tell you how to get this icon and all, but see the flow, and then I tell you how you get that icon and how to configure that icon and all. Right? See here. This is one browser DevTools module. So using this, you can see this. You can just click on it. Opens your application state here. Okay. If you click on that, it opens here. Uh, See initial state. If I click on initial state, so here you have action state difference. Action, no action triggered as of now. The state is like this. This is the state. If you can see the chart format like this, I think you can see the connection. State contains pizza count, raw data like this. See object. This is your initial state. Pizza, pizza count is 25. That's what we have discussed now. Pizza, pizza count 25. That's what my store or state. This one. Okay. The moment I click on the button, it's become 24. Now see here. See, one action has been triggered. Pizza Hut buy pizza. Sir, where does this is coming? Because as I said in the action, you have to write something. No, this one. So this is displayed on here. Pizza Hut. So when I click on the previous one, state information 25. When I click on this one, 24. See, previous is 25. It is modified to 24. Instead of clicking and opening like this, actually you can open here also. One second, let me inspect. In this Redux, yeah, there will be one uh, thing will be there, like one more link called Redux. Yeah, this is the easy one to check it out. Okay, let me refresh. So we'll start from scratch. Yeah. So observe very closely. Initialized, store is initialized. If you can see the state chart, this is the start information count. If you hover, you get the count, or you click on raw button. This is the counter. So the moment I click on this button, see, one action has been triggered, page account. For this particular action, page, count value has been changed to 24. If you can see the difference, it will show you 25 has been changed to 24. Okay, and you can see the chart also display like this. Now see 24 like that. The whole application chart is like very simple chart. Okay, you will be having a complex architecture also. We'll see that. Yeah, when I click on again, one more action, the same action one more time. Now it's become 23. So first 25, then 24, then 23. So what is the action you trigger? How it is getting modified? So you can easily track everything. Okay. So sir, how can I see this in my system also? Is simple. You have to install one browser plugin. Browser plugin that's called Redux DevTools. You can see the name, right? The same browser plugin will also works for Redux, React Redux, and the Redux also. So how to install the plugin? You know, right? Go to Uh, this is Chrome I'm using. So here, more tools, extensions. Here I click on extensions in the bottom, open Chrome Web Store. Yeah, here you have to type something and to search for. Let me search for um, what is that? Redux DevTools. So you have to type this Redux DevTools. You get this one. Click on that. Yeah. So this is the one you have to install. Okay. Just click on this. Just click on that. This is the Redux DevTools. Yeah, I already have it. So that's why I get the remove from Chrome. You will get add to Chrome something. Just click on that. You get this icon over here. If you don't see after installation also, you can't see this icon, and make sure you need to have internet connection. Okay. I think you know this basic step. Yeah. So once you have this, yeah, once you have this, yeah, once you have this, you can easily work with that. If you don't have, you can do a cross check, more tools, extensions. Once you installed, if that is not visible after installation also it is not visible, you can go to your all this and you can search for that. I think something will be there. Yeah, this one, Redux DevTools. You just need to enable, and then you can see that here. Okay. So and also see here, it is disabled. Every tab you go, this tab black color, this tab black color, this tab black color. Only for my Angular application, green color. It is like enable. Even for Zoom, disable. So it means this has been configured only for this application. Why is configured? Because of this line. If you don't write this line, it will not work. Let me remove it. Okay, delete it, save it. If you have not configured that, you can't see that. Actually, you have to refresh. Okay, see now it is disabled. You can't actually see anything here. You can't debug your application. It's completely disabled. It is open, but nothing you can see. Okay, so it's just nothing. So you want to enable this step, you have to write devtools module.instrument. Okay, so now it will refresh your application, and you can see that here green color. You can see the whole setup, initializer, raw data, everything of state like this. Okay. Yeah. So here we have discussed a very simple example with NGRX, and also we did a lot of things manually. We create action ourselves, we create reducer ourselves, we create store ourselves. Okay. And there are a lot of I mean, a lot of manual things are there here. Okay. And this is not the actually complete optimized way of doing NGRX. Okay, so optimized way is different. Okay, but because I just wanted to tell you the flow, that's why I made everything manual. Instead, there is one library in NGRX that's called NGRX schematics. So what in the schematics is scaffolding library for Angular application using NGRX. It means uh, you know uh, for Angular we have Angular CLI, right? So we have Angular CLI library. Using this, we can generate component. We can generate the service, guards, interceptors, everything we can generate automatically, right? We don't need to write a huge amount of code by ourselves. Same story. There is something called for NGRX, just like Angular CLI. There is something called at NGRX slash schematics. SCHE schematics. This is one library. Here you have some commands. Using that commands, it will create the optimized, okay, as per the industry standards, how to create action, how to create a reducer, how to create a effect, store. Everything gets created automatically just by commands with this. Okay. So we have discussed the manual process. So automated NGRX semantics we'll discuss from tomorrow. right? So I hope you understand, and so please go through these things, and I'll place this PPT in a Google Drive as well. So please go through that and understand. So let's make the same example, because this is a very basic example. If you understand this flow, you can make any other NGRX. Because if you make this example, then only you can do the next example. So please do that, and we'll meet tomorrow, and we'll discuss something more about NGRX. Right. So thank you so much for joining, and we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.